Okay, so you said in your pre-show notes to us, men are hypocritical in what they want in a partner and what they go after. For example, the Jonah Hill situation. Men claim to want traditional partners and then go after independent women with strong careers and expect to tame them. Okay, and then there's a bit more, which I'll get into later. But we can start with the Jonah Hill thing. So if you guys, who here is familiar with the whole Jonah Hill situation? Okay. So basically, Jonah Hill was, I guess, in a relationship with this chick, and I guess they had some conflict, some issues or something, and he texted her, which she later kind of released, exposed him, whatever, saying that, well, the text message was basically like, hey, here are my boundaries. I don't want you associating with certain types of people. I don't want you posting these kinds of photos on the internet, et cetera, et cetera. And then he said something along the lines of, hey, if these things, like posting photos on the internet or associating with these people, brings you happiness, then no hard feelings. I think what he's implying there is, if it's an issue, like, we can just break up, no hard feelings, wish you the best. But this is just what I need for me to be happy in this relationship. But you have an issue with that.
I mean, yeah, because when he started dating that woman and started pursuing her, he was the one commenting on those photos and liking those photos, and he knew he knew she was a surfer. He knew what her career was. He knew that was what she loved to do. And then when he finally got the woman that he wanted and was in a relationship with this strong, independent woman with a successful career, he decided to implement his insecurities and be like, you can't surf anymore. You can't surf with men. You can't post any sort of photo. And I don't know if you saw the photos that he was showing her he thought were inappropriate. She was fully dressed in like a romper and just standing outside like at a brunch spot. It wasn't anything that was over the top. It's not like she's doing sex work or OnlyFans. He pursued a surfer and then told her she can't surf.
Well,
I don't think he said that.
He said she can't surf with men.
But
like,
I mean, we don't know all the details, but it's look, we don't know what happened, but it seemed to me like she was associating with certain people that maybe had an unbecoming reputation.
Like, he doesn't. I think.
Well,
Jonah Hill's a darling of Hollywood.
He was so weird with Emma Stone in Superbad.
Well,
that's a movie.
So weird.
What?
No, he was so
But
weird.
so that's his job.
Yeah,
What do you mean he was
like,
weird?
Didn't he like write it into it, or like didn't he like also help produce it or something?
What?
Wait, what do you mean?
Superbad was an awesome movie. What
But he
the
was
fuck
so
are you talking-
weird.
No, what? Okay, no.
But
no,
you mean he was like in the movie, the actual movie, he was weird?
Yeah. he
Like
was
as an
weird.
actor, he was portraying like an awkward 17-year-old, 18-year-old high school.
Yeah, but like, I feel
like
like
acting,
didn't he like
his job.
yeah,
that he's
but I'm just
assigned
saying,
to do.
he's been weird.
What?
Like,
What?
What do you mean
Okay,
he's been?
I just said
What?
how he was weird. I said he was weird in the movie Superbad
the-
with Emma Stone.
What?
Wait.
What?
I don't get it. Am I stuttering?
No,
Yeah, you
I
do.
understand, because if the roles were reversed, should she be okay with his behavior as an actor, his job? She's a surfer by profession. So if the roles are reversed, should she go, well, I don't want you to act then. I don't want you to act in scenes with women. I don't want you to kiss women in scenes at your job. It's the same thing.
But really, guys, the first question, man, is do you really have the right to actually tell your partner or actually demand such things from a partner? Because really, from me, I think this thing happens both on the ends of the coin, man. Both males and females are controlling, and as human beings, we all have our demands and we all have our boundaries where we feel like our partners should conform to these requirements, our partners should conform to these standards, and literally those are your standards, man. So hence I'm like, if maybe from your relationship, because relationships are different for each and every couple, so I feel like if maybe you could think of your own relationship and be like, okay, do I have these standards, do I have these demands for my partner? Because it's like she's saying, she's saying like men are hypocrites, and frankly I feel like even women are hypocrites, because most often you find like women be complaining to be like, yeah, he doesn't want to change, he doesn't want to grow up, like they mask it with a lot of these more or less reasonable demands. But at the end of the day, man, it's demands. If I don't want to conform to your demands, it's still my life after all, regardless of whether I'm dating you or not, man. But yeah, and like, she's making a really, really valid point, man, to say, should she be like switching the stick and be like, I have my own demands as well, especially concerning your line of work? Because really, man, we know like what actors been getting and up to, man, like in studios, and some of them in these interviews they'd be revealing to say, yes, I've kissed this one, I've kissed. And some of these movies, man, they literally really go in deep when it, especially when it gets it gets to kisses and stuff like that. Maybe not in practical sex, but some of them are literally kissing at the other actors and their colleagues, and you'd be like, man, I'm not even getting into that much level of dirty. I'm just surfing with these guys and stuff like that. But I know, man, insecurities, like, they would always creep in, whether maybe your acts are more criminal than mine. But you know, like, whenever insecurities like come and they just do not knock, they do not ask, they be like, man, this is my woman. I hate it whenever like this guy, because like, men, women can make guys be jealous, man, because they would be like, yeah, he's just teaching me how to surf, and you, at that moment, that guy is so buffy, he's got muscles, see, you can tell like he goes to gym every morning. Because literally, man, a guy who makes maybe a lot of money doing surfs, and he only surfs maybe twice or three times 3 hours a day, and he's done. Like, he has all the time in the world to actually work on his body and build his body, and you be like, man.
Well, number one, she's not on that level, right? She's an amateur surfer. But then number two, do you guys really think that that was the first conversation they had about it, those text messages? I know for me, if that type of thing were to come up in that type of situation, that text message, the way it was structured, that was not the first time. They have clearly talked about that. And I can't say this for sure, right? Nobody knows the full extent aside from the two of them. I would bet, though, that they had this conversation in person, and that was a text reinforcing what was already discussed. Who brings something like that serious up for the first time via text?
Yeah,
I would personally find that very unlikely. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I think that what she said was, oh, she was a surfer before. I think that once you get into a serious relationship, you're completely entitled to set boundaries. The more serious a relationship becomes, the more likely it is and more reasonable it is for them to set those kind of boundaries.
But a boundary isn't something that you impose on somebody else.
I think that
that's not a boundary.
Like,
at that
I think
point.
It goes both ways. I don't think he was necessarily imposing. I don't really like Jonah Hill, like, personality. I love his movies. I think Superbad was goated, by the way. But I think it's normal. I think it's completely normal to ask that when a relationship becomes more serious. Just like something like, oh, like the post. And like she said, I don't think this was the first time they talked about it. I don't think that whatsoever.
Like, yeah, it is good for the fact that they are saying, they are bringing up the this is not the first time they had this conversation topic, because I've seen this in most cases than not, especially in my relationships or in my friends' relationships or just people I know, where they think just because you've talked about something in the past gives you the right to say, man, you were supposed to do this, or I don't have to talk about this for the second time. You're supposed to respect this. But man, remember, whenever you talk with somebody about something, at the end of the day, what's decisive in that conversation is the decision that both of you reach. And if you haven't reached maybe the same decision in that conversations with your partner, like, rest assured, like, the person won't stop whatever thing you want them to stop, or if they won't start whatever thing you want them to start. Especially, like, say for a guy, guys are the most like ego-driven people in the world, man. Like, they are most prideful, if that's the word, people in the world. So, and as much as they are so proud, they are afraid to lose like their partners and stuff like that, and they do not do like want to argue and engage and have like some arguments with their partners, because they feel like, because the person is bringing this thing, it's a concern to them, and if I do not comply, they would leave me. So they would just keep quiet whenever they see that maybe you're starting to shout and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that they are agreeing with what you're saying. And most often than not, you'd find that the guy will just find a way to continue to do that thing, but in secret. And what have you gained from that? Because the person literally haven't stopped the thing. So you have to find the way to make them listen and understand why is it necessary for them to stop this thing, and make it in their interest as well, not only for your interest. Because in most cases you find that people, they make things only about themselves, like really.
But so do you think that if a man told you that you had to give up your career because you were dating him, that's
he
acceptable?
Didn't say that.
He said if you wanted to continue to surf with men, which, let's be serious, the predominant group that surfs is men, and if you're on a beach, there's going to be men there. Like,
but okay, so I surfed. I mean, you can paddle out alone, you know, like.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, like, if you
she probably
have
has girlfriends and stuff.
Right, but if you have a good opportunity, I mean, something like this, or whatever the case may be, obviously not a podcast, but if you have an opportunity that includes men, are you supposed to deny that if it's going to help your career just because your boyfriend's uncomfortable with you being around men?
Well, they claimed, and maybe you can weigh in on this. I mean, she claimed to have been, I don't think she like had really a major career as like a model, or like, I don't think she's a pro surfer.
But even if you're not pro, doesn't your career still matter?
I think it's within his right to try to assert these boundaries, not necessarily tell her to follow them, but I think it's his right to bring them to the table, and whether or not she decides to agree with them or not. I think that he was sort of setting up an ultimatum, so he did it under the pretense that, hey, maybe this won't work out. I don't think he was necessarily like trying to dictate what she did or what she didn't. He was just setting what he wanted, what he expected out of the relationship.
I mean, he was just weaponizing therapy speak in order to assert.
Weaponizing therapy speak.
Yeah, he was, in order to give her an ultimatum and basically say, well, if you do X, Y, and Z, the things she was already doing pre-relationship. I don't think that he should have pursued her in the first place if that was things that he was uncomfortable with.
Exactly what I was gonna say. Men always want like the bad bitch, but then once they get the bad bitch, it's like they can't handle her. And that's exactly what I texted Brian in like the thing that I wanted to talk about. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because oh my gosh, it's always like with Ariana Grande, like the reason why she's getting divorced is because he couldn't handle having a bad bitch. He couldn't handle having all that fame.
How do we know that?
Because
we don't know.
They've already talked about it. It's been like
they've talked about it.
It's been publicized.
Isn't
she a homewrecker?
Yeah, that too. Yes, that's a completely different issue.
Okay, yeah, that's another issue, and I was gonna bring that up too. That she's kind of like a pick me. I'm so sorry, Ariana Grande. I'm so sorry.
Wow, shots fired.
I am so sorry,
I'm
but
not
yeah,
sorry.
she does tend to go. Oh my god, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm so sorry, Ariana Grande.
Well, they keep bringing up the fact that she's not a pro, as if like man, you do not get to decide what's more valuable in my life, even if it's just a hobby, man. Like, I'm not pursuing it for the sake of like a career or something. Like they are saying, man, he found this woman. Okay, I know I'm a guy, and in more sense I should be defending a guy in this case, but it really just makes more sense, like in the woman's case, in this case, to say like, man, because you're my boyfriend or because you're my girlfriend, then you have to decide what's more valuable in my life. And that's just criminal, man. Yes, I love the fact that he approached it in a sense that I'm giving you an ultimatum. Maybe, yes, it's fine to start something thinking that the person will realize and change it afterwards. Or maybe if you're thinking that you would be able to put up with it, then only to find out later that, man, I can't put up with this thing and stuff like that, and give the person an ultimatum to say, hey, man, I can't put up with this thing, let's just break, because I can't, like, you can't force a person to stop something that they love, man. Like, you can't force them. In a sense, I would say to him, man, just sit down with your person, take out all the emotions out of this thing, take out all the entitlement out of this thing. Just find a way to sit down with her and be like, baby, I love you, as you know, and I know you love me, and I feel like for our relationship to be prosperous, for our family to strive, I feel like, and give her like maybe some concrete reasoning to say, I feel like you should change this, like just make this sacrifice for our family and for our future because of this and this and these reasons, and those reasons should be like literally valid reasons that the person will understand and see the need to actually let go of the other thing for the future or for those reasons. But not to say just because I'm your boyfriend, just because I'm your girlfriend, then you should no, man. Like, and that's where in most cases we lose it in relationships, where we feel like because the person said something, they love us, maybe as a guy, because I approach you as a woman and you feel like you're entitled to make demands and set these boundaries and tell me what to do and stuff like that, especially when it comes to men, because as a man, you are proud. You don't want a woman telling you what to do, and it gets even worse when she's demanding you to like comply or conform to those standards and demands, man. Like no, like you should, like, the person should understand that if I'm giving up something in fact, in my approach, I feel like just instead of telling this person, show them a better side of you that will like make them respect you enough to say, I'm willing to give up this thing for you, babe. Like, I feel like in that sense it would like be the right approach to go about it, not to just like, man, because I'm dating you or because you are in a relationship with me, then you should. No, that won't sell. Trust me, that won't sell.
She's gonna see this and come for you.
No, Rihanna, no.
Okay, but okay. So you guys are saying that, you know, maybe he should have just not dated, or like he was liking on her photos. He should have known what he was getting into. But isn't it fair to say that, like, prior to dating, he had no problem with her engaging in what he considered single behavior, but once they started dating, he wanted her to act in a way that was commensurate with being in a relationship. So not posting certain revealing photos.
That's what I was saying.
But her on a surfboard isn't a revealing photo, and her in a romper in front of a brunch spot is not a revealing photo.
Well, that's all. But to be fair,
I guess it's subjective, but I don't think that if she's posting photos for her career, amateur or not, that it's okay for him to be like, you in a bikini is too revealing. I mean, look at his movies. Look what he's done.
Yeah, didn't he like whip it out and like
what?
Yeah, and
but,
like
just one thing, like,
and she's a surfer.
And also the way men are sexualized is so different to women too.
The only thing we have though is what she chose to release. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been on the opposite side, or maybe you've had someone speak poorly about you, but if someone ever speaks poorly about you, are they likely to reveal perhaps the ways in which that maybe they contributed to the issue? I mean, it's one, I think she's making herself to be a victim, and people are very good at taking themselves out of the situation and not telling the whole truth and only the part that makes the other party look bad.
I mean, that's definitely true, but we can only go off of what we've seen, right? So, I mean, if we're basing it just off this conversation without any prior knowledge, that's what it looks like. It looks like he started dating somebody that he knew did not fall in line with his morals and his values. And I think that that was a waste of her time if we're going strictly off of that.
But that was single behavior.
How is it single behavior if she's a surfer?
Oh
That's not single behavior. Wearing a bikini on the beach is not single behavior.
Are you saying it was a fatal attraction, basically? I feel like we've all dated that guy where we probably shouldn't have. You know?
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure.
I'm
definitely.
not saying Jonah, but I'm just saying like he was attracted to her and maybe he was trying to
change her, but that's what I'm saying is wrong.
Like I said, I think it's fine to like impose boundaries once you're in a serious relationship. On the same side, she could have said, "Oh, I'm not comfortable with what you do in the movies," and that would have been completely reasonable on her side.
Which I'm sure was again a private conversation that they had, because nobody brings that up for the first time over text. Have you guys ever brought up something really that serious for the first time, where it's like an ultimatum via text? I mean, maybe.
Yes, yes, I have.
Okay, well, I'd say that's objectively a pretty
scared.
emotionally immature thing to do when you're in a
Maybe he is
real
immature.
But how old are you again? Sorry,
I'm 21.
Exactly.
Maybe
So
he
that's
is
a 21-year-old thing.
Whoa, man. Like, when did you get there? Like, these are personal attacks now. Like, man, there are 21-year-old things to do and 21-year-old behaviors. There are no, that's personal, man. That's low of her. Like, that's literally low of her. And like, since the beginning of the conversation, she has just shown that she has picked a side since way before the conversation has started. But that's irrelevant, man. But going back to what he just said, that he was really like, he was speaking the truth, and I like vouch for him. People are so good at keeping some of critical information whenever maybe they are telling they are exposing someone, and they are so good at like keeping their own contribution, their own vile contribution into that behavior or into that conversation. But as well, what she said, she's right, man. Here we are only discussing what we've seen, man. This guy, if he wanted like maybe to expose her or to expose his side as well, he would have like went ahead and be like, no, man, you are taking things out of context. Right now we are putting up only these pictures, and you know those are not the pictures I was talking about. And if maybe really he wanted to make his point truly clear, he would have put up his own pictures and be like, these are the kind of pictures I was talking about, and you know this, and so on and so on. But clearly, like, this guy, and I respect him for not doing that, because man, if you loved someone and you loved them, you don't want to expose them on the internet like that, even though they would want to maliciously attack you and expose you like that and make you like the bad person. It's like low of her for doing that and playing the victim card on the internet. But hey, man, this is what like I would say like people in relationships do in these days. I don't want to say like 2000s or teens, but yeah, like these days, like people in relationships, this is what some and of the things that they do. But yeah, man, and single behaviors, nah, man. But you can only do what you know, man. Like, she has never been in maybe this serious relationship. It's the first time being in a serious relationship with this guy, I guess. And maybe from the past, she has never been this far into a serious relationship. So you can't like just impose your standards to her like that and stuff like that. You gotta, like I'm saying, for me, I feel like the best way to go about this is to show the person your mature and your sacrificial and your respectful sides, and the person will just repay those with their own sacrifices and stuff like that. And maybe in the process make them aware of some of the things you would wish them to let go of. But you can't just impose, especially when it comes to dating and relationships. Like, people are seriously insecure and protective of what they value and what they enjoy in their lives, man. So yeah.
But what if he is immature? You're jumping straight
well,
ahead.
She just said that
like,
he was using therapy speak. Generally, someone who's been in therapy for that long to the point where they're able to elicit therapy speak are a little bit more emotionally mature.
And I think they were both seeing the same therapist privately, so it's not necessarily
I don't know
speak,
much about this situation. I'm just saying.
Didn't Jonah go on to have the child? Right?
Yes. Oh, I don't know anything about this. I don't know much about Jonah.
And that's the other thing, exactly. She released it like just after he had the baby with his new girl, right? And this was years after the fact. So what was the point?
I mean, yeah, but that's not what we're
She's trying to get
about.
her lick back. That's what she was trying to do. Haven't you guys ever tried getting a lick back with
What's
an ex?
that?
Like after the
Revenge.
fact?
Yeah.
No,
Also,
2 years
like,
later?
if you're a victim of like emotional
Revenge.
abuse, sometimes it takes a while to have the confidence and the strength to come
Whoa,
forward.
hold on. Are you saying that this was emotional abuse?
I'm just giving an example of her saying it took a.
Hold on
Doc
just a sec.
Venabilis donated $100.
Nick, can you adjust the
Flight
exposure?
girl, making
Thank
a
you, Doc.
private conversation public is a major violation of boundaries.
Well, guys, I feel like okay. Besides, the video is much longer than this, so you can just go into the whatever clips on YouTube to fully watch the entire clip. But I feel like I've made my opinions and I've said my piece, and it's done. Like, yeah. At the end of the day, it's all about that specific relationship. Understand your person, understand the person you're dating, and the things they do. And yeah, I guess, man, you act decisively with the clear understanding of your part. But besides, guys, can you like and subscribe and comment on the comment section below, and add your own opinions. We are on the road to 100 subscribers. I love you guys, and please continue hitting that subscribe button and let us reach the milestone. Thank you. I think I'll post up here again. I've posted like in the on my socials. We have reached 3,000 views this month. I think on the 17th of this month, if I'm not mistaken, but I'll check. But yeah, let's keep supporting the channel, guys. I love you as always. Peace.